Hi guys, Lizard69 here. I thought I'd do a putting tutorial. Seems to be all the rage these days. The first thing you need to know, which may make some sense to a lot of you and might not to everybody else, is when you're going uphill, you need to allow a lot less brake than if you were going downhill for the exact same putt. Because you're hitting it so much harder, you're hitting through quite a bit of the brake. You're going downhill, you're hitting the ball quite a bit softer, so a lot more of the brake comes into effect, and you therefore need to allow quite a bit more for it. We're on tournament greens, so what I usually typically do is I go with my first guess, which is probably going to be around about there. It's 12 and it's up to. Then I come into reverse view and I have a look. Now if I look at that immediately in putt mode, it doesn't seem to me like it's enough, that I've allowed enough brake. I've actually got to put this at, okay, it only goes up to 3 inches at 13 feet. So I think it was around about there. So that I'll change over to chip mode and I'll have another look. And that, if I look at it from there again, it's definitely nowhere near enough. So I'm just going to move this out a little bit from where my original. Now when I look at that from here, it seems to me like it's too much, but I'm going to trust what the chip mode showed me. And 14, I use a divider of 1.2, which tells me it's 11.67, so I'm going to hit this at 12 feet as it does go up a little bit past the hole. And let's see basically how we get on. I might hit it a little bit past 12 feet actually. Okay, so there you can see that although from the front that really didn't, it looked to me like it was too much, but I basically trusted what the chip mode told me, and it worked out perfectly. Okay, now what I'm also trying to do when I do this tutorial is to try and put the ball in positions where a lot of you guys might find yourself on these holes. You're either going to find yourself in this vicinity over here or long right, in my experience. So again, what I basically do is I have a look at the putt, and then I go with what would be my sort of gut feeling on it, so to speak. And then I switch to reverse mode. Excuse me. And because we're going downhill, although we're not going down any inches, we are going down, the putt will break more than it would if this was an uphill putt. Right, my connection's absolutely disgustingly terrible. It's taking this long just to go into reverse view. Let me pause it. Alright, so here we are in reverse view. Have a look at it from here, in putt mode anyway. Seems like that might be a little bit too much. Brake. The dots are basically all moving at a good clip. So they're not slow and they're not overly fast. Yeah, that actually, now on second thoughts, might be about right. Let's have a look. Alright, so we got 9.1. My divisor, I'm going to hit this at about 8 feet. Possibly a little bit harder because of that headwind. And that should still be in, even though I've hit it early. The one thing with this putter, I find it's on mistings. Okay, it actually, wow, and that's gone flying by. 3.7 feet. Okay. So what I'm going to do then, I hit that at, I think I hit that just past 9 feet. I'm going to take the exact same thing, do it again. I think that's where I had it, and I'm going to hit it at 8 feet. Right, missed the ding by quite a bit less, and that went in. Now basically the first one would have gone in, despite the difference in how early I hit on the first putt. If I'd have hit it at basically a slower speed, I hit the first one too hard, and it didn't get a chance to grab any of the brake. And the second one I hit at the correct speed. And the reason why I tend to hit putts basically harder than normal is because I've gone through months where where putts keep coming up 2 inches short, 3 inches short, things like that. It drives me absolutely crazy. So I've gotten to a stage now where I pretty much almost ram them in, if I can, and you know, just so that they don't end up short. It's something to bear in mind if that starts happening to you. All you have to remember then is that, you know, the speed that you hit the putt dictates the line on every single putt. No matter what, if it's on slow, if it's on champ, it doesn't matter. The speed you hit it determines the line. So there basically are multiple lines that any putt will go in, multiple positions where you can put the aimer, and if you hit it dead weight like Bollocks and other players do, they'll drop in. If you want to hit it a bit harder, then you just allow a little bit less. And I'll see you guys on the next screen. Alright, same deal again. Okay, assuming you've played safe, you just don't want to attack the pin too heavily on this hole, because to slip down this little bank over here is the worst possible place to be. So you played safe, ended up left of the pin, basically pin high. So again, take a look at the dots. Don't really rush it, just have a look, see what they're doing, and then go with what would be my gut feeling for that. I'm going uphill, so the putt's going to break less. Again, go into reverse mode. I'm going to chip. Just come past the hole here and have a look. Right, so it seems to be fairly uniform. The putt's breaking generally at about the same speed. Maybe slightly more earlier on, and slightly less later. So because of the speed I'm going to hit it, I'm going to probably hit through a lot of that original early break. So where I put my original gut feeling at, I've moved it a little bit closer now. I'm going to stick with what I originally had, which I think was around about there. At 12, so normally I'd hit this at 10. I'll hit this at 11. Okay. Now you had a situation where the initial break, although you've hit it, it's the initial break is right in front of you, and that's when the ball's travelling at its fastest. You would imagine that less of that initial break comes into account. Now that looked to me like it didn't even start anywhere near where I put it. So I've moved this maybe a ball further left. I think the last one missed around about here. A ball left, and I'm going to hit it at 11 again. Hopefully I can ding it. Oh jeez, now I wouldn't be surprised if that missed left. Oh, it's gone in the right edge too. So basically a ball's difference. A ball's difference there was basically to be the difference between a birdie and not having a birdie. But yeah, the first part of that putt, because the ball's travelling at its fastest, the first bit of that break should have been almost taken completely out of the equation, and it wasn't on that occasion. But I'm also today, the reason why I'm making this putting tutorial today is for one specific reason, because in the tournaments that I've played so far today, there's this very horrible habit where balls just fly off the putter face right or left, and it's cost me in some very important rounds so far today. You know, wherever I put the aim of the ball doesn't really want to go in that direction. It seems to want to go off to the right for some reason. Gee whiskers. Right, I'll see you guys on the next screen. Alright, now here's one basically where the putts really, the dots are really not moving very fast at all. Typically in a scenario like this, I would leave the aim where it is and play just to miss the ding a little bit late. But basically I'll keep with what I've been doing for the tutorial. That's basically on the right edge. If I look at it from here, that is the right line for sure. Just go into chip mode to make double sure. And obviously it's a close putt anyway, so it is fairly easy. Now the only thing is here, 6.2 down one. If I hit this at 6 or 7, it's not going to take the brake at all. It's just going to go sailing right on past. I don't want to. Also, I don't want to hit this too softly, because there's a possibility that it may just take to, it may just come to the left. So basically, if I set the right speed and ding it, I can even afford in this one to miss a little bit late. It's in the hole. Now, I'm assuming you guys don't need help on these baby ones, but basically where the dots are moving that slow, usually just put it on the edge of the cup and you should be close. Okay, I'm not too sure if the majority of you end up short here or long. I was typically always long on this hole before I got these new Nike irons, and nowadays I can pretty much afford to attack the pin with them. Alright, so basically we have a look at that. The dots are moving faster than they were on the hole before, so to go left edge as we did on the last one is probably not going to be enough brake, unless you basically hit this at 11 feet. Then you probably find that will go in. So where we had it on the edge of the hole on the last time, we're also twice as far away, so there's twice as much time for the brake to take effect. And when you look from this distance, this excuse me, this side now, even in putt mode, just looking at it, it's basically not enough. So I'll have it go into chip mode. Right, where I had it basically on the left edge, I'm just going to move that out a bit. So what we've basically done is we've just got another cup. So the dots are moving at about the same speed, probably all told, that they were on the hole before, but we've doubled the distance, so I'm just doubling the brake. Let's see how we get on. Any time today. Ideally wanted to ding that, but I've hit it the speed where it should be able to still take the last bit of the brake if it eventually does hit the ball, that is. Come on. And you see, basically went in dead center. And if I'd have dinged that, it would have still basically gone in. If I'd have clicked a pixel or two earlier than I did, it would have still gone in. Basically, and that was basically all about the speed. So if you notice the difference between this hole we've just played and the one before, the dots are moving at about the same speed. Well, we were about twice the distance back. So where we had it left edge, we basically just moved it a cup further to the left. And typically on this hole, I think most people go long, so I have tried to get us to go. Right, so while doing this tutorial, I'm trying to basically put the ball in the places where most of you guys would find yourself. I guess there are times where you would find yourself here. I generally tend to find myself on the longer side, or very short over there. So again, alright, I'll have a look at this. If it's not really doing too much for the first 3 grid blocks in front of me, then it starts to move quite a lot to the right. So again, my gut feeling, it's 18 down 4. So my gut feeling probably is about there. It might be a little bit much. So that would be my gut feeling for this putt. I'll go into reverse and have a look at it. I'll change it to chip just to have another look. Right, now in chip mode it's quite interesting. The dots moving a heck of a lot slower. So where I had my original thing over here, if we go back, I mean there the dots look like they're absolutely flying down the hill, and they do in putt mode here too. As soon as you change to chip mode, they seem to be going a lot slower. So now you've got a decision to make. What are you going to trust? Now I'm for this putt here, I'm going to trust this. I mean, you know, I know that slopes down, and I know it slopes to the right. Whether or not these couple of dots going to the left here are going to affect this putt, I'm not too sure. And the wind definitely does affect putts, so we'll soon find out whether which view was correct. Now I'm going to try and hit this dead weight, which is basically 11.5, so that I can maximize the use of that slope in case the chip view is correct. Alright, so in that case there, I would probably go with the idea that the chip view was showing me that not as much break. So that kind of putt there is worth taking a note about for future reference. You know, just so that you can say, right, if I'm pin eye right or whatever on this specific hole, I'd rather trust front view, putt view dots than chip view in reverse mode or whatever the case might be. Then that way, when you come to the same situation again, you know, you find yourself not doubting what the correct line is. But I'm pretty sure if I hadn't have hit that dead weight, the putt wouldn't have gone in. I needed to trust that downhill slope and basically hit it dead weight and trust that the slope would do the work for me, which it ultimately did. Right, I'm playing off the red tee here, so I actually had a wedge in and ended up short, so I've just putted it to a more likely scenario of where you might find yourself. You might find yourself a little bit further back. And again, take a basic look at the putt. And we're going down quite steeply, so the break will be, I don't know, if I was going uphill I'd probably hit it about there, but my gut feeling for this is probably around there. So that's my initial gut feeling. We'll look at it in reverse. Let's say here we are excuse me, in reverse mode. In putt view the dots seem to be looking the same as they did from my original gut feeling, and here they seem to be substantially slower. It's hardly moving at all in the beginning, and then from about this grid line here it seems to be trickling along. If I go back to putt view, I mean, look how much faster they're moving. So again, it's a situation excuse me, I mean, if you had to go with chip view there, you would basically move this another cup closer, I would say, and I think you'd miss quite a bit left. Well, we'll soon find out if I'm right or wrong. So 9.9 down 4, basically 5.9. So again, now this is a bit of an in-between one, whether to trust the chip view or this, but I know at Congressional the putts do tend to move more than you think. So I'm going to give this a hit at 6, which is now basically taking nothing off it, no divisor, no nothing. And let's see what happens. And I should hold its line quite a bit more and take the break at the end. Okay, I just basically hit that too hard. When you're in between, or you're not sure whether or which view to trust, I just basically hit that at 6, which 5.9. If I had used a divisor and hit it at 5, it would have definitely just trickled in at the end. So because I overhit that, is the only reason that it lipped out. The line was perfect. I just basically needed to hit it half a foot slower. Right, so what I'm going to do is I've just taken the mulligan and I'm going to put them in the exact same spot. That's it, assuming I can get it there. Right, that looks just about to be the exact same spot. Now what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to hit it at absolute dead weight. And this is a possibility of missing left. It went in the left side of the cup, so you can see from hitting it at 6 foot to it lipping out on the right edge, hitting it at absolute dead weight, and it dropped in on the left side, or right side as we just looked at it. So there you can see immediately how much of an impact your speed makes on not just the fact that it lips out, how much of the break it takes, and how much of the break it takes when you hit it dead weight. It's quite remarkable. I've just hit a pitching wedge at full backspin from 20-25 rough. And so I was actually aiming to play this about 3 yards long, 2 to 3 yards long, which is where I usually end up on this hole anyway. I've ended up almost holing it, which is absolute insanity considering we've only got basically a bit of a breeze. bit of breeze coming out of us at us, and the 20-25 rough usually has no impact at all on yardage. So when I eventually load up the green, I'll just putt it away, and let's see what we can do with that putt. Alright, so I've just knocked this back a little bit, and here we are again. And we're on Kiawa, which is notorious for its dots lying and carrying on. But again, we go with the exact same philosophy as normal, going downhill. So this will break quite substantially more than we think. Just have a look at my original gut feeling. And now you can see we've changed to 12 down 1, but I don't modify this to now say that's 11. I keep it at the original speed, which would be basically a 10-foot putt. We take the 12 minus the 2 off. So that's my original gut feeling. I don't think it's enough break allowed, and then we'll have a look from here, and we get a funky camera angle. Let's have a look at it in chip mode. Okay. I'm not too sure what yeah, okay, that's quite a bit more than I had originally allowed. Now basically the same deal here. It was 12 down 2, which makes it a 10-foot putt divided by 1.2 is my divisor, so 8.33 is my deadweight speed for this. What I'll do is I'm going to hit it at that. I'm fairly happy that I've got the right line here. Now that's at dead weight, and she's gone in beautifully. And what I'll do, it's assuming I can remember where I just had that aimer at. Oh, it's not going to let me mulligan, is it? Oh, bugger. Alright, so here's a slightly longer putt. I actually ended up left of the green here, so I just chipped it to this spot. I think this is a spot a lot of you might find yourself in, and also a lot of you might find yourself very long. So if this putt doesn't go in, I'm going to putt it longer than the hole, and we can have a look. Okay, so basically same deal as always, same sort of pre-shot routine if you want to call it that. That was my gut feeling. Whoopsie, too much. Not too much. Probably around about there. These dots, although I'm going to be hitting it hard at this stage, these dots are going to have an impact higher than I would expect them to, I think. Then basically it's nothing much happens over here, and it comes back around again. We'll go into reverse. I'm fairly happy with what this putt does at the beginning here from this mode, so I only really want to see now what it does at the end. Right, so here we are. And now what it's showing us over here is that it actually is a sort of triple break. It comes left to right, then it goes right to left, and then it comes back left to right as we look at it. So I just want to confirm the last bit of this in chip mode. And there you can see, if you look over here, that it is definitely breaking in that direction. So therefore, where I originally had it probably somewhere around about here, I'll probably be happier with that. Okay, now basically I've done my typical divisor. It tells me I've got a 31.6 6-foot putt. But because I'm using my 40 scale on my putter, or because the caddy has automatically gone to the 40 scale, I immediately deduct to 5%. It tells me I've got a 30-foot putt. So I'm going to hit this at 15, which would be, yeah, 30-foot putt. And then let's see how we get on. If I've now misjudged this little bit, that the chip view showed us is going this way, I'm going to miss this right. But if this view here is correct, it'll go in, or I'll miss left. Let's have a look how we get on. Right, I've gone a misting to the right, which is probably the worst thing I should have done, but yeah, Now you could just actually see there, if we get that in another look, if you guys just rewind that a little bit, that little part there that we weren't sure about did definitely take the ball further to the right, apart from the fact that I clicked late. It was coming online quite nicely until it got to this, where in front view in putt mode it didn't show these dots moving left to right. It showed basically keeping still, or actually even also still coming a little bit right to left. But in fact what actually happened is that the chip view showed these couple of dots on the top of the hill taking it that way were true and can be trusted. So when she eventually loads the next putt, I'm going to move this, I'm going to hit this long, and we'll have a putt coming downhill from the other side. Alright, so we've come a little bit long on our approach, and if we've had decent wind we might be having this for eagle. Again, we have a look at it, and it seems to be breaking a little bit this way, keeps on coming a little bit this way, and basically the whole way it seems to be breaking right to left. So again, gut feeling, because I'm going uphill, shouldn't break as much, so I think maybe I need to allow a little bit more than I just have, probably over there. Now again, what we didn't see over there, if you look at these three grid boxes, or these four actually, they're showing the putt going the other way. It's front view. Oh, now they are doing it. They weren't just a second ago, I don't think. Alright, so we basically got a bit of a double breaker, triple breaker. First we're coming a bit this way, then we're coming a bit this way, and then we're coming back a bit this way at the end. According to those dots anyway. And these dots do confirm the very same thing, so what I'll do is I'll just go into chip mode and have a look. Yep. Alright. So another look at that. Right, so the very beginning part of that putt, if I look at it, the dots are really not moving very fast. So I think up until about here they seem to cancel each other out. So basically what we're looking at then is a putt from here. So you can break this putt down quite nicely. So you're looking at a what is it going to be? 16. So you've got a 6 foot putt from here, 6 foot putt from there, and now it's fairly easy to determine that break, because most of us are fairly confident, I think, with 6 foot putts. Well, yeah, let's call it 7 foot putt then. So just having a look, assuming that by the time we get to this point the ball is going to be at this point straight, the double break will have taken care of itself. We've only really got to worry about this last little bit. So I'll adjust now. I've allowed a little bit less than I had originally. 23 divided by 1.2, and again it's giving me the 40 scale, so I'll minus for 5%, gives me 18. So that's a 9 foot on my, where it would basically be on my, if I was using my 20 scale. So this spot here is 18 feet. Got a slight wind behind me, so I shouldn't end up being short. So I'm gonna, this is lag speed, I'm gonna hit it at now. It should just drop in the last couple of rolls. Okay, we'll actually have a look at the replay of that in reverse and try and see where we went wrong. Pause it. So it's still basically going straight. It's now just starting to come back where the dots were. There you go. And here's the last part of the putt. So lag speed, I would then have to say that I underestimated the final bit of that putt. But what I want to do is I'm going to hit the putt the exact same way. I'm just going to hit it a foot harder, and hopefully I ding it, because if I miss late then you're going to say I only went in because, okay, cool. Now this time I believe it will go in. We've hit it basically a foot harder, maybe 3/4 of a foot harder. So the final bit of the break should be taken care of by the extra speed, if it gets going eventually, that is. And there you go, and basically that there shows the difference. So I've hit it 3/4 of a foot harder, and we flipped out on the right. That is a very, very good example for all of you to see just how much difference the speed makes. They seem to come off the putter face at the exact same thing, so I didn't get any weird reaction there. Didn't hop off the putter face to the right or the left on either of those two putts. Just a speed difference, and you get two completely different results. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial, and you know, subscribe to my my YouTube channel, whatever it's called. I'm always uploading various videos. I read something in the forums about new terms and conditions. New terms and conditions are being released. I'm not sure if we're allowed to record videos anymore, or whatever the case might be, but until someone tells me differently, excuse me, but little putts like, till someone tells me differently, I'll just keep on recording my rounds and carrying on. Little putt like this, guys, obviously you don't have any hassle with it. I'll just hit it at 3 feet, click early, and it's in 100% of the time. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and remember, speed kills. Speed is the only thing that dictates your line on every single putt, as you've seen throughout this tutorial. Have fun with it, practice, and yeah, we'll see you guys again soon. Ciao.